Greetings, commanders! Today we're talking about utility combat damage commanders. Now, everyone runs a main commander in general. That's where you put the majority of your leadership, and I've done videos on that, and my main is Gilly, so here she is. Today we're not talking about Gilly. We're talking about Plasma, we're talking about Hoodoo, Pkwy, and Dragon Slayer. So if you're a Rogers main and you have all your research in airship, you're probably going to have a Dragon Slayer backup. And the reason is because these four commanders I'm going to be talking about today can do something amazing given the right circumstances. Now, I do want to throw this out there that Pkwy and Dragon Slayer, with the right gear respectively, are good main commanders. However, Plasma and Hoodoo generally are not good main commanders. But given the right circumstance and March, they can do amazing things with very small amounts of troops. Now, doing amazing things for low risk is a big deal in this game, right? It saves you money, it saves you repair costs, it gives you a chance to overcome the big players, and by all means, there are other commanders that can do amazing things. A Dodger Roger build was a big thing. One slot bust formations with Stella, Gilly, or any commander really that has a hard big hit. Those can do wild things, and you know and then of course Hancock. I mean, Hancock is his own animal. These are just the combat damage oriented. I want to organize your thoughts and get you guys kind of caught up, especially the new players. It's kind of why we're going back and doing these remastered, because I've done videos on all these commanders, just not a nice, packaged video. So here it is. The way they do damage, right? So let's look at Plasma, for example. He's infantry, okay? So he gets his majority of damage from Quantum Blast. What we don't like about Plasma's Quantum Blast is he has to lose troops, but they turn into a bomb and blow up the entire opponent's army. So the more troops, more HP and damage you lose, the more damage you do to the other side of the field. Now this is dependent on his own HP and attack, so you just stack HP and attack and you get a nice big bomb. Here's a good example of it. Digging deep into the archives for these old replays. Okay, so this is Moody. You can notice pure damage build going against infantry. Now, remember, infantry troops naturally have low HP as opposed to the airships and Walker, right? So infantry versus infantry, I always say, is like a Zerg versus Zerg matchup. They just blow each other up, especially when there's Plasma involved. Now, Plasma is basically just sending one slot of troops, and what he's hoping for is that when Stella hits him, she kills the entire slot, because she has a Gemini trigger. So if she killed, there's 80 troops. If she killed 70, and then hit again and killed 10, she would only be bombed for the amount of troops that died in that last strike, so 10 troops. But if she kills all 80, that damage goes back and becomes one big 80 troop bomb. So there's the hit. He loses all 80. Here comes the Quantum Blast. Automatically triggers. That's just built into Plasma. If he loses the troops, they automatically die. So in turn, he does 1.5 million to the other side of the... I'm sorry, is that... Yeah, 1.5 million to the other side of the field, killing all of her troops. So huge return on investment for a minor risk. Now, just remember, she only had 20 units in the other slots, and it's equal damage to all slots. So if she had 100 per slot, he would have used 80 troops to kill 600 plus, and that scales quite a bit higher too. This Plasma bomb build is really good, but it doesn't scale as a main commander because he doesn't have like a true guaranteed hit, and his other skill is like a dodgy skill, and then in the current meta with all the guaranteed hit gems and whatnot, it's just not that good as a main commander. But he's a great utility commander if you know infantry is coming at you. Stella's, not the tank build, but Stella's, Gilly's, Hubarians, or any type of glass cannon, Dragon Slayer builds, Vega builds, Walker builds, probably Pkwy is most glass cannony, maybe King, maybe the new King Overdrive build with Kid Skill can be good for taking advantage of that. But anyway, that's the infantry combat Plasma bomb build, and that's how the damage works. And the damage on all these is just a little bit different. That's why I kind of want to differentiate them. Okay, so what Hoodoo does is instead of using his own troops as the bomb, he uses your troops as the bomb. Okay, so what he does is he has this death rattle skill that if he has Walker troops and he kills an entire slot of your army, whatever the HP on those troops were that died, they turn into a bomb. All right, they blow up your whole side of his whole opponent's side. So it's also limited by attack. So you got to have basically an attack build. You don't need HP on his build. Like Plasma needs HP and attack. Hoodoo just needs a lot of attack to kill enough troops. This doesn't scale as well super high into the game because even late game penetration builds, it's not too often that Hoodoo is going to be one-shotting anyone. And in order to get the most value out of death rattles, you got to one-shot somebody. That doesn't mean he's useless though, because he still has this chain blast skill. 40% he blows up the front row. Well, guess who else has this? Pkwy. And we're going to talk about Pkwy next. But let's show what Hoodoo can do with the right setup. So in the old meta, People used to march full rangers when they saw someone unshielded. They thought they were going to get a big resource haul. They wanted low risk, but they wanted to send a lot of troops. If you garrisoned your ally with just a small Hoodoo march that's unshielded, especially on kill event weekend, amazing things can happen, because even though Death Rattle doesn't ignore tier suppression, like Quantum Blast doesn't ignore tier suppression, that last replay I didn't really talk about that. If Plasma, or if Hoodoo triggers a Chain Blast on a lower tier, it doesn't matter if you have tier 11. See, there's tier 11 here. It doesn't matter if there's tier 11 here, because the damage is going to be sourced from the slot 1, and that sounds confusing, but just watch what happens. So the key thing you want to remember here is that you need first strike, and if your commander isn't max level and your warp gate is not high as level as your opponent, even an attacker can sometimes get first strike. So it doesn't mean you're always going to have bad luck, but generally speaking with Hoodoo, you want that first strike, and hopefully to catch rangers in slot 1. But it works on lower tier as well, tier 2, tier 3, stuff like that. That 1 million damage translates now to everything else. I think 60% to everything else. So there you go. It translates to 70,000 damage to slot 2. So all those rangers, he just used them as a bomb to blow up the slot 2, which is what he really wanted to do. So 52 units kills 100,000 rangers and instantly kills what? How many thousands of those tier 11? There's 4,000 now. Kills 1,300 just off blowing up rangers. So 52 units killed 1,300. Now, even if Hoodoo loses this fight, he still killed 1,300 tier 11. I know smaller players are looking at these troops going, what are these troops? It's tier 10 and tier 11. Don't get too caught up on that. It's high tier stuff. But the concept is what you really should be taking home with you, because you could do this on your server with just a small march of whatever your highest tier is, defending an ally, and you too can catch someone with rangers and just turn them into a bomb and blow their whole army up. And hopefully they have a big slot of high tier in one of those slots. And most people do that because not a lot of people have a full march of their max leadership. Now this replay goes on, and Chain Blast goes off. We'll talk about that. Pkwy has that. He's going to blow up that back row. The Chain Blast is going to keep going. Okay, there was 4,000 units. Okay, now here comes on the Chain Blast. The Chain Blast don't hit as hard now because a lot of those troops have died. And the damage is based off how many troops died at that last moment of combat. So still, he kills 2,900 at the loss of, 100 tier 10. Pretty amazing of what Hoodoo can do given the right circumstance. Instead of doing Pkwy, let's talk about Dragon Slayer next, because Pkwy and Dragon Slayer kind of work similarly, but not, and there's a very big difference here. So Dragon Slayer is the new, airship sweetheart with penetration gear, shockwave, and crushing blow. She is amazing. She can ignore all the base stats, get a huge guaranteed hit with crushing blow, 40% skill, and then hits with a shockwave, 60%. And what this says is that whatever the damage you did to that target you hit, you're going to do it to all your opponent's troops. And of course that goes with Airship Awakening, so hitting the whole battlefield. What's nice about this skill is you don't have to turn your opponent's troops into bombs. You don't need to kill 1 million rangers to do 1 million damage. Okay, you can do one ranger, kill one ranger, and if you hit it for 1 million damage, you could do 1 million damage to everything else. And what's nice is if it's a low tier troop, that damage may be way higher because it has those low tier troops have really low base stats. And if they have, say, one ranger in slot 1, which is very popular when someone's attacking you, if you have a 1 slot bust Dragon Slayer that triggers a shockwave against a ranger, you will blow up the entire field. Here's a good example. And of course, infantry having such low stats, this works so well against infantry, which is why I'm always harping about how good Dragon Slayer is. All right, so Scorpio, crushing blow, shockwave. Now in this replay, she doesn't even hit a ranger. That's a whole different thing. There's plenty of replays of it, but for the sake of this video, let's watch this. So she kills all the troops in slots 1, and slots 2 and 3 also get hit with the Awakening, not related to the shockwave. The shockwave comes next. Okay, look at the back row. 1,056 units of tier 12 in slot 5. Okay, right over there. Okay, here comes the shockwave. 200 tier 12 per slot. Okay, now obviously this is not even nearly how good Dragon Slayer can be. If she would have hit a single ranger or 100 million rangers, it doesn't matter, because the base damage of what she was swinging with and how hard it hit is what scales. Okay, it doesn't matter if she runs into 1 rangers or 100 rangers. If you're going to be going against Dragon Slayers that you think might be 1 slot busting, instead of using 1 ranger, just put 1 unit of your highest tier and hope they don't get a shockwave, because it's still going to hurt, but it just won't hurt nearly as much as if you had a ranger there. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense to you. If not, watch the Dragon Slayer videos. I'm not trying to do a complete breakdown. Just trying to get a general idea so people that kind of know all this stuff can get it all kind of put together nicely. Okay, so the next thing about that is her whole thing is if she does damage, it scales to all the other troops. Okay, whatever that damage was. So if she hits for 100 million, she does 60% of 100 million to everything else. And the lower the tier troop she's going against, the harder she generally hits because they have lower stats. Now, Pictor's skill, Sticky Bombs, is kind of worded like Dragon Slayer's, except he only hits the front row or the same row of the unit he hits. Instead of all 6 slots, he just does 3 slots. Okay, and what Sticky Bomb says is that if you deal damage, you will deal that damage to everything else. It just doesn't scale like Dragon Slayer. So, if you were to do, let's say he had a base hit of 1,000,000 damage, okay? Well, he swings that 1,000,000 damage into a tier 12 unit, and that 1,000,000 damage gets cut all the way down to 50,000. Okay, he's going to do 20%, or well, it's actually 60% at level 60, of that damage to the other 2 slots. It's not like Dragon Slayer, who can blow up the whole front row based on the original troop. It's just what he would have done to that slot if it was a singular attack. Hopefully that comes across clear. It doesn't scale like Dragon Slayer's skill. It's still good. It's just, it doesn't scale like Dragon Slayer. And I have a Pictor replay here to kind of show that. Okay, Flashfire with a tier 10 Walker March, Taurus, Sticky Bomb. Okay, so he will get the hit if it hits. Oh, and Leos. This is going to hit really hard. Okay, so let's see. That was awakening damage. Got to be careful. You don't want to miss it. It's right there. All right, so that is 33 million damage. Okay, here comes the Sticky Bomb. Everything gets hit for a percentage of 33 million. And then that's 9 million. Okay, so it was probably level 20 Sticky Bomb. What was that? I guess we can go back and check real quick. Level 60. Okay, so the damage, there's probably damage reduction and just higher tier troop, maybe some tier suppression. But it doesn't scale like Dragon Slayer's Shockwave. I think I nailed the point here. If I didn't, use the comments below. I think the most important thing to remember is that Dragon Slayer and Hoodoo's skills can scale ridiculously when they hit low tier. Okay, unfortunately, Plasma's bomb is, he can't really scale it. It's just whatever he's willing to lose is what he can do damage back to. And then with Pictor, his damage is going to be whatever it is. It doesn't scale like crazy if he goes against low tier, while Hoodoo and Dragon Slayer truly can. And that's kind of what I want people to realize about this. So whatever your main is, okay, whatever your main is, if you're a Walker main, you need to be running at least a Hoodoo as a backup, a small March commander to protect allies or yourself in galactic battle. He's a great choice and he can do wild things. Now, also, I should mention, like I said, I didn't really do Hancock in this, but Hancock's really good too, but just he's a little different. We'll do that soon. If you're infantry, you got to run a plasma. Just having a level 60 Quantum Blast on an A plasma is all you need. Just stack them full of HP and attack gear and just bomb people when they attack into you. Use tier 2, tier 3. Hope they don't have tier suppression. Remember, his bomb doesn't beat tier suppression. And then you can do a lot of good things with plasma. Trade really efficiently. And then, of course, Dragon Slayer. Dragon Slayer does scale like crazy. If you're an airship main, you need to be running Dragon Slayer just to defend yourself or defend an ally during the weekends. I don't know. Hopefully that was concise enough of what I was trying to do with this video. Just kind of putting the limits on what utility commanders can do with combat damage. All right, that's it. My name is Mel. Thanks for watching. We'll see you tomorrow.